Hey, 42 here. If you're travelling in the vast wilderness of British Columbia along the wild Alaskan border, you'll come across a gigantic and most impressive fjord in the middle of nowhere. At the very tip of that fjord you'll find a seemingly beautiful, quaint little town called Kitselt. Hundreds of miles from anywhere, you look over at the remote town nestled within the beautiful surrounds, and you observe that all the lights are on. Windows emit a warm glow of life. There must be people home. This seems like quite a lively community, you would think. But as you walk closer, you come across a large locked gate and a sign warning off trespassers. You start to realise that not all is as seems, and there is in fact something odd and rather eerie about this estranged settlement. It's completely empty. Kitselt is a ghost town. Its hundreds of homes, shopping malls, sports hall and shops are all completely deserted. Yet the lights are still on. Power still runs to the town. Homes are lit and tables are set, just as if the entire town upped and left at a moment's notice. Because that is exactly what happened. Kitselt was built in 1979 to house the families that worked at the nearby molybdenum mine. Molybdenum is a metal that was in very high demand by manufacturing industries, and Kitselt was a promising new start for many people, offering a well-paid job at the nearby mine and a beautiful new community built at a cost of $43 million to live amongst. Kitselt was home to 1,200 residents and offered a hospital, sports centre, shopping mall, restaurants, theatre, grocery store, library, and of course the local pub. Life was perfect, until one day. Just 18 months after the town had been built, the price of molybdenum crashed, and the mine was shut down for good, depriving over 1,000 people of a job. With no reason left to continue to support the town financially, the owners of Kitselt evicted everyone. Pretty much overnight, the entire town's residents were forced to leave their lives behind and move, never to return. But many residents left lights on at home and in public buildings, and the power to the town was never turned off. The owner also paid for the entire town to be cleaned and maintained every year to maintain its appeal to potential buyers. So, for over 30 years, Kitselt has stood frozen in time. Life looks the very same as the day it was evacuated, electricity and all. There's just one thing missing: the people. But the owner's plan worked, because in 2004 the entire town was sold to an Indian-American businessman for $5.7 million. He initially claimed that he was going to refurbish the entire town and turn it into a paradise community for highly intellectual individuals, where they could collaborate on inventive new projects and push the boundaries of science amongst the stunning scenery. The entire town would be refurbished out of his own pocket, and he wouldn't seek to make any profit from it. But unfortunately, that turned out to be a complete lie. It was recently announced that Kitselt is being turned into a liquefied natural gas plant to export highly valuable and profitable natural gas. The whole intellectual retreat thing was just a big cover story. So what's the lesson here? If a stranger approaches you offering to buy your abandoned mining town, you best be sure of their intentions first. If you happen to be passing through Bogota in Colombia and dare to venture 20 miles south into the unforgiving wilderness near the spectacular Tequendama Falls, you will see an old, imposing building precariously perched on a cliff edge. Welcome to Hotel del Salto. Built in 1923 by an architect, its goal was to attract wealthy tourists. But pollution from the Bogota River took hold and began to quickly eat away and erode the foundations of the building. It was quickly deemed too unsafe to continue hosting guests, and in the early 90s, it was completely abandoned. It has sat there rotting ever since. But this old ruin has a twisted agenda. During its operational days as a world-class hotel for the upper echelon of society, the hotel was the location of many freak suicides. There is a local legend claimed that the indigenous peoples used to jump from Tequendama Falls to avoid being captured by the Spanish conquerors. According to the legend, the natives would transform into an eagle halfway down the falls and fly away to safety. Hotel guests must have taken this legend a little too seriously, because throughout the years, many such guests have thrown themselves off the cliffs and off the hotel's various balconies. Sadly for them, they didn't turn into eagles. The hotel was also reported to be haunted by several tabloid newspapers, but that's hardly surprising. I mean, look at the place. This melancholy story has a somewhat happy ending though. In 2011, the National University of Columbia restored the building to its former glory and made it into a museum for the public called Tequendama Falls Museum of Biodiversity and Culture, celebrating the national heritage and environment of Columbia. Now, a mine closing down and haunted hotels is one thing, but what could cause an entire town of 1,500 people in India to disappear in the middle of the night? Deep within the Great Indian Desert lies a once thriving community called Kuldara. This medium-sized village has driven historians and the Indian community crazy for over 200 years, because these mysterious ruins hold a dark secret that so far nobody has been able to explain. Kuldara was first settled in the 13th century by the pioneering Paliwel people from the nearby city of Pahl. The population grew, and by the 19th century there were over 1,500 residents in Kuldara, mostly farmers, bankers and agricultural traders. The Paliwel people were known for being business-minded, and the village was prosperous. Until one fateful night in 1825, the village was suddenly deserted. In the middle of the night, the entirety of the settlement residents abandoned their homes and disappeared into the darkness. Sure, many settlements have been abandoned throughout history due to plagues, famine, drought and other natural disasters, but most are abandoned slowly over time. What's so eerie about Kuldara is that every single resident left altogether at the same time, and furthermore, in the dead of the night, as if they were hiding from someone or something. To add more fuel to this bizarre fire, there were no reports of 1,500 plus people looking for refuge in nearby towns and cities the following day, or the following week, or the following month for that matter. Nobody actually saw them leave the village, and nobody has found any trace of where they went. They simply disappeared, never to be seen again. To this day, nobody knows what happened that night at Kuldara to cause the disappearance of so many people, but local legends claim that before they left, the Paliwels imposed a curse upon the village that anyone who stepped foot in it would experience paranormal activity and death, so that nobody could ever reoccupy it again. And thus the village has gained a reputation in Rajasthan for being haunted. In 2010, Gaurav Tiwari, a paranormal investigator from the Indian Paranormal Society, along with his team of 12 other people, spent a night in the abandoned village. They claim to have heard creepy voices and screams, and even seen talking spirits. Incidentally, Tiwari died under mysterious circumstances at his home only a few years after visiting Kuldara. Some have said that this village was deserted in the dead of the night due to some evil paranormal force. But some historians claim a powerful local tyrant called Salam Singh fell in love with the daughter of the village's chief. Singh gave the villagers an ultimatum of 2 days for the chief's daughter to marry him, or he would massively raise taxes on the village's residents that would economically cripple the community. And so they fled in the middle of the night out of fear and to avoid further persecution by the unforgiving Singh. There are many such theories as to what happened to Kuldara, but to this day, none have been proven. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please click here to support me on Patreon, which helps out the channel and you can get some cool rewards like early access to all my videos. Click here to watch another video, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe.